Tarek, this time, yeah, don't make the audio fucked.
Yeah, don't worry. Hey guys, TazManiaAhmed and welcome to episode 15 of Tmacast. We're back here again. Mr. DM and Mr. Jubba again, back again. No DarkStarGraver again. He's still sick as far as we know, so we hope him a quick recovery. So guys,
Let's hope he gets better from COVID-19.
Yeah, let's
Rumor has it that he has COVID-19, so let's hope
Is
he gets
it?
better from
Is
that.
this some next Putin-esque Russian misinformation?
I heard it from the.
You
I heard it from the
down
grapevine, bro. I heard it from the grapevine. Yeah.
Is it? All right.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Bro, I've seen him in these. This is the thing. This might be the case, right? I've seen Costa in these photo shoots recently.
Yeah.
And I think he thinks that he's too good looking for us. I think that's why he's not coming. Like he's forgot. He's been like, I'm too big for these guys. I ain't really like in with these guys. I'm too good looking for them. So
it's tapping those model vibes.
It's too many photo shoots. We gotta ask him about it when he's back, if he does come back. I must
just let him be, bro.
Is it like photo shoots for like rapping?
Yeah, he sounded like a dad when he said that. Is this like a photo shoot for rapping?
All right, I do have like lots of dad's energy.
Yeah, that's true.
For some reason,
do people call you daddy?
Weirdly, I have had that
Oh my
before
God.
for like no reason, like out of nowhere.
Really?
And I didn't know how to react to it. It was while I was working. No, it was while I was working. One of my colleagues. Yeah, she out nowhere because we were all laughing.
Weird.
Yeah,
That's actually.
She was probably really into you, bro.
No, I was like, let's not. But
Yeah,
go directly into that. But it was I was caught off guard. I didn't know what to say. I was like,
Yeah.
what? I don't know if I like.
Have you ever been sexually harassed at work or in the university?
What have I ever been? Of course, yes,
Yeah.
I have.
How do you react?
It's different because I'm a man, but
Of course it is. Do you feel uncomfortable when it happens to you, though?
Of course, I'm uncomfortable.
So what do you say?
I'd always get these like out of nowhere people feeling up my arms.
What, really?
Yeah.
In university?
Like, no, not at uni. I work.
No, work.
Work.
Work's like that. Retail's like that, though. People just touch it out of nowhere.
Yeah, legit.
Yeah,
Like,
retail's like that.
There was this in particular, a lady, older lady. She had the thing for just touching me out of nowhere and complimenting my physique. I was like, thanks. But
you were in good shape back then, innit, Dan?
What do you mean back then? Yo,
What are you trying to say,
okay.
Tarek?
All right. I see.
Tarek, Dan, don't take shit from Tarek. Tarek's got back pain. He doesn't know what he's doing. He went to the gym today, Tarek. He looked. By the time the workout started, he looked like he was done. He was like, I'm done with this.
I was done after walking up the stairs, man.
Legit. He was out of breath. I was like, what's happening, man?
Yeah, it wasn't a very good gym session, but nevertheless, we had a good session, and I think we should start with our title of the podcast, which is the Hsbc Ponzi scheme, which our financial correspondent today, Jubba Ahmed, knows all about. So
exactly, this is your financial correspondent with a degree in banking.
This is the Jubba Ahmed podcast.
I have a degree in banking and international finance.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So clearly, I know. So basically, what's happening?
London School of.
The thing is, it's not like I just read this on BBC News 10 minutes ago. I've been studying this for a long time.
Yeah. Jubba actually knew about this scheme before it actually became public, innit?
Well, the thing is, interestingly though, the fact that HSBC are a dodgy bank and all the banks are dodgy isn't exactly news. Do you know what I mean? Like, even though these files were leaked, we all know there's dodgy dealings behind all these banks anyway.
Wait, what is this? Because I know nothing about it.
You gotta tell us.
So basically, right, FinCEN files are basically all of these documents that were leaked recently over the past 24 hours, right? And it's basically leaked documents involving about $2 trillion of transactions that have revealed how the biggest banks allow criminals to move dirty money around the world.
Jeez.
So this is more than 2,500 documents that were sent to the US authorities between 2000 and 2017. And they basically expose secret deals, money laundering and crimes. And, it's a bit mental, right? So the big deal is that, so an example is, so you have to launder money, right? Laundering money, for the viewers that don't know, that's when is the process of taking dirty money and then taking that money from things like drug deals and corruption and getting it into a bank with a respected bank, so it becomes legit, basically. So Russian oligarchs have used it. These documents have shown, because there's been sanctions on Russian people, Russian oligarchs. Russian oligarchs have used this method to funnel money through the West, through these big banks.
Yeah.
So, for example, JP Morgan allowed a company to move more than $1 billion through the London bank account without knowing who owned it. So what they do, $1 billion, yeah. So what they do, especially in the UK, there's a lot of shell companies, right? So these companies are basically a front for what's really happening behind them. So these are all these shell companies that are funneling money through these banks. No one actually knows who owns these banks. Who owns these?
Who owns these companies?
So what is a shell company? For the views, I don't know, and for me, that I don't know as well.
So a shell company is basically a company. It's an inactive company which is used as a vehicle for financial maneuvers.
Okay.
So it's like a front. So it's basically you create a company and you put money through it, but it doesn't actually do any financial activities.
So it's just like a public, like limited company that it's just there.
It's just a vehicle to get money through. Yeah. So that's how people get past this thing. And it's also the fact that at the end of the day, these banks, they know about all of this stuff. It's not a secret. It's not like these criminals are masterminds, bro. Like they know the banks know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because there's trillions running through the bank accounts. And this is all we know about. Do you know what I mean? There's probably a lot more. Because there's trillions running through the bank account, they put a blind eye to it, act like they don't know anything about it, and then it comes out like this. Do you know what I mean? But like HSBC allowed fraudsters to move millions of dollars of stolen money around the world, even after it learned from the US investigators that the scheme was a scam. So like these banks don't care, bro. They're like they do not care.
I guess like as soon as the people at the top are like getting their money, they don't care how it comes in, as long as they get money in their pocket.
It's also
So what's going to happen now? Like, because they're complying in criminal accomplices, essentially, in criminal activity, in a way.
Bro, these banks are criminals, man. Like, this goes straight to the top. And it's also the fact that, like, there's a whole documentary on Netflix in how drug money laundering is prevalent within HSBC. And they've been warned about this before. This isn't new news.
HSBC specifically.
HSBC, yeah, they're like notorious. They're like they're notorious for funneling drug money throughout their company because it's a very international bank, and they basically let anyone come into the bank, put money under the desk, and call it a day. Do you know what I mean? So these banks are really like. But we knew this anyway. We shouldn't really be shocked. At the end of the day, if you're not part of the industry and you're not part of the like financial industry, and you're just watching this as a public, when it comes to billions of dollars, there is so much that we do not know about. So much. Like they keep this stuff a secret.
It's almost as if it's another realm. As in, like,
it's another realm, bro.
Even to think about the number billion, it's hard to comprehend, you know.
Bro, it's a different dimension of human beings. Like, it's just like, this is just a completely different life they're living.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Only once you open the gate, like go behind the curtain and see what's behind it, you're like, oh, damn. So you're just looking at Jeffrey Epstein, bloody Bill Clinton, you're looking at Pizzagate. There's a lot of stuff that's happening. I'm not saying like, don't get me wrong, funneling billions of pounds through a bank probably isn't as bad as being a pedophile. But I'm just saying, there's a lot of crazy stuff happening that we do not know what's happening. Do you know what I mean? And by the way, it's just about taking personal, like, social responsibility, right? Like, as banks. Because, if you're laundering money and you're part of the process of funneling illegal money through a bank, then you are a criminal. Do you know what I mean? But the interesting thing with banks is that it's difficult to find the person that has to be accountable for it. That has to be made accountable. Like, is it the cashier? Is it the person? Is it the manager? There's so many different levels of hierarchy.
I'm sure the top level know that is happening, right?
But then these banks have like the best lawyers in the world. It's just it's impossible. And then even if they do get charged, they'll be like, they'll be in, they won't really go to jail for that
They just
long.
get bailed out probably.
Yeah, exactly, because they got money, because they make money off of money. That's all they do.
innit?
So
Make money off.
Do any of us have a HSBC account? I don't have one.
I cancelled mine
You cancelled yours.
at the beginning of this year, mate. Forethought, bro. I knew what this was
Yeah,
gonna
he
happen.
knew. He knew.
Legit.
You saw it coming.
That's what we said at the beginning. Jubba knew from years back.
So I'll give you another example. There's loads of examples from this. So this document's mental.
Oh, you
It's
got
exposing
the
a lot of-
document in front of you right now.
No, I'm got this BBC article that says all you need to know about
Yeah.
FinCEN, right? So this is a couple of.
And this all came out today.
This
or
was
like-
revealed. This article was 3 hours ago.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'll give you an example. Standard Chartered moved cash for Arab Bank
Yeah.
for more than a decade after clients' accounts at the Jordanian bank had been used in funding terrorism. Deutsche Bank moved money launderers' dirty money for organized crime, terrorists, and drug traffickers.
Damn.
The UAE central bank failed to act on warnings about a local firm, which was helping Iran evade sanctions. That's fair enough. HSB, so evidence that one of Russian President Vladimir Putin's closest associates used Barclays Bank in order to
Barclays, man.
avoid sanctions,
it.
which meant to stop him using financial services. Bro, if you're using any bank, you're done, aren't you?
Oh, mate. Barclays, mate. I'm disappointed, man.
Mate, I applied for a job at all these places as well. Bloody hell.
You were promised a trusted bank, weren't you, Jubba, at the graduate scheme?
Well, I think this is the thing, right? Like all of these banks say they have all these values and stuff like that.
It's always,
And maybe they do a lot of good stuff,
yeah.
but at the end of the day, just because you do a lot of good stuff doesn't mean you're good. Do you know what I mean?
That's
It
deep.
just
That's
if
deep.
you. So what's that quote?
I remind there was an idea that I heard recently this week. I can't remember it. So okay, it's me not receiving much of it, but it tapped into the whole situation of when somebody who is bad or notorious does something good. How does that shift the scales in how we look at that person? So, for example, if I was Pablo Escobar and I'm a super rich, complicit in drugs, probably responsible for the deaths of hundreds, maybe thousands of people, but I'm a philanthropist and I've built many children's hospitals in Colombia. How will history look back on me?
So it's like Robin Hood. Still from
Yes,
the rich, give to the poor.
In a way, if did Robin Hood murder? Was he like Batman? Like his one role?
I'm not sure.
I think he just stole
He
money.
stole money.
Was Robin Hood even real?
Was he real? Was he a myth or a legend?
He's probably based on a real person. Right?
Yeah.
Public legend.
Steal from the rich, give to the. That's an interesting question though, because like people look at these people. It goes back to like the example of slavery. Because all of these slave owners, they did good stuff. They funded like schools, universities. Yeah, but you can't buy back all of the negative things he did in perpetuity. It's gonna come back to you. You can't just do all of this negative thing, like kill people, and then you can't balance it out. That's just not how life works. And at the end of the day, in the eyes of the society, it really doesn't matter. And like at the end of the day, the human being, if he believes in God, it doesn't matter how much good or bad he does. He knows the state of his own heart, right? So if he knows that he's done a lot of bad stuff and he's just doing things for a front, who are we to say that he's a bad person? Do you know what I mean? Thing is, we can say that because if he's killing people, clearly that's bad. But like, we don't know the state of his heart. Do you know what I mean?
What if he's killing like pedophiles or something? I saw a news story about a guy who there was a video I saw on Facebook. A guy was smiling after being sentenced to life or something, and smiling at his brother because the person that he killed was the man that used to like abuse his brother in his childhood.
Mad.
And
Well, in the eyes of the law, I don't think it matters, right? If you kill, you kill.
yeah, true.
It's like I think if you kill a police officer, you get like a much greater sentence than if you kill like an ordinary person. I remember learning about that in law in my 1 year in college.
You did law?
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
Where did you do law? I can't. What?
I did AS level.
Yeah.
Yeah. We forget about those times.
Yeah, like I did PE. Yes. Like
yeah, you did as well.
Yeah. So
damn, you've come a long way.
A lot of things are just like.
I did chemistry and biology AS on my days. Do you remember biology? That was sick, wasn't it?
Biology was sick. Chemistry, no. I lasted 2 weeks. I got kicked off the course.
She was like, "Get out of here."
Nah, legit. It's like we're kicking you off the course. Please don't.
It's actually good though that happened to you.
Huh?
No, Dan, I feel as though you can even do two things.
You stick through chemistry all the way to A2.
No, I quit. I got a D and quit.
Oh, okay.
I dropped it. It's I would have been in a better position if you kicked me out as well. So
yeah,
it worked out for the best.
In hindsight, it was probably the right decision.
Would you have carried on, Dan? Or you were like, you took on the chin. You were like, "Nah, it's ain't for me."
I would have been hard-headed. I would have stuck through it. I would have.
And she gave you no opportunity to do that.
But I'm super optimist. I think okay, eventually I will pull through. And
well, to be honest, you know, Talha, she told Talha to leave as well, but Talha was like, "Nah, I ain't leaving."
And she apologized to him eventually as well when he eventually got the good grades. Shout out to Talha.
Yeah, shout out to Talha, wherever he
or
is.
AKA Moose.
Dan, that could have been you. You should have done it, I think.
Nah.
I think if you persevered, right, put hard work, you could have done it.
Well, I don't think it would have been the right decision. Looking back now, I don't think it would have. In terms of even interest in chemistry, like I initially chose chemistry because I was hard set on becoming a doctor. But
I need to call him.
Everyone wanted to be a doctor, innit?
Everyone wants to be a doctor. It's such a. I think it's because back then you don't know what is out there. So everyone says, doctor, lawyer, engineer, but you don't know there's so many other things that are
fields
available.
And professions.
So many other fields and stuff.
But I tagged Tarek in an interesting post the other day, and he was this guy
by our favorite LinkedIn influencer.
Our favorite LinkedIn
influencer. Asim, you know.
Asim Qureshi. You follow him as well, Dan. He's sick, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen the post, but I'm connected with him.
He always refreshes his posts every once in a while. You see the same one.
Is it? I should get a notification when he posts.
Because he's the CEO of this company called Jubba, which is a payroll company, right?
Right.
And he does interesting posts because he's an Oxford grad and he's a clever human being.
He's a former CEO of like what, Morgan Stanley or something.
No, he's not CEO. He was a managing director.
Managing director.
In the investment bank, there's like loads of positions. Yeah, he was he worked at Barclays and Morgan Stanley. So basically, he had this post, and the gist of it was like, whatever passion you have, if it doesn't make you money, which most passions don't, then you get to a certain age as an adult, maybe like 30, 35, like 30, right? Where you're like, oh, damn, and bearing in mind, let's say you had the intelligence to do a high paying job.
Yeah.
Right. He basically said he was a physics graduate, but he wasn't really he was passionate about physics in university, before university. But in university, you realized he just lost his passion for it because he realized it wasn't really his passion. He was just really good at it. Right. But he also had friends that were really passionate about physics and they killed university. And then they went into the field of physics, but they were successful, but they didn't make as much money because they followed their passion. And he said they regretted it because at the end of the day, you get to a certain stage as an adult and you realize that, look, money matters. So if you don't make a lot of money, then you're gonna have a lower standard of living compared to people who did make a lot of money, especially if you have the potential to make a lot of money. So if you have the potential to make a lot of money and you choose to go for your passions instead, a lot of people do regret that because they see, look, I could have just done this job, made a lot of money, and then done what I wanted to do in my free time and have a lot of money. Do you know what I mean? It depends who you are at the end of the day.
That's difficult, yeah. That's a very difficult thing. Yeah,
I think the majority of people, if you were to tell them you can make 100K a year, or you can follow your passion and make 25. Come on, that's a really.
It's going up again now. Oh,
It's
sorry,
easy.
lads.
Can you hear us?
Switch my Wi-Fi. I'm not connected to the boost.
You're back.
It's better.
Yeah, it's better. It's better.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, it's like if you could do 100K a year, or follow your passion and make 30K. It's easy.
But are you going to be happy doing the 100K? But if you're happy doing the 100K, then you might as well do it.
But like, how much? Like how bad can a job really be?
Mate, some jobs, like you see these posts, they're like crazy, innit? Like, you know, they get treated really bad. They have to work like 12,
I mean, if
14
that's
hours
I
a
mean,
day.
at the end of the day, when you're in a workplace,
your managers are racist.
You need to create. I mean, look, in that case, you need to create your own boundaries.
Yeah.
You know? Like things like that, where your manager's rude, they're racist and whatnot. That's stuff that you can deal with in the workplace. You need to you don't need to move job. You need to deal with that head on and communicate that. But I'm talking about a job where you're treated calm, you're treated okay. But it's just a job where you don't really do your passion, like finance, for example. No one's passionate about finance. Anyone who says they are, I don't believe him. Like, it's just numbers. I just don't believe him. I think the majority of people that do finance do it because it's an easy way to make, not easy, but like it's a way to make money.
There must be people that like it though.
But it's not about being passionate about the actual number crushing. It's about having a purpose behind it. That's what's more important.
Yeah.
Working for a company. So if I do financial management for a company that is really making an impact and I can see my work making an impact, I don't need to enjoy Excel files every day. I just need to be satisfied with the work that I'm doing. And that's what people need to get when they choose a job. You don't need to be enjoying your day-to-day. Like, you can be enjoying the fact that you're making an impact. You know what I mean? But you don't necessarily need to be enjoying the day-to-day grind, because it's a grind and it's going to get difficult anyway. You know what I mean? Working for a good company is really important.
Literally, the corporate social responsibility.
Yeah, exactly. And just a company that you feel valued. You know what I mean?
But before this call, I was watching a lecture from Colonel. What's his name? Colonel.
Nothing.
Huh?
Nothing.
Colonel.
Did you say Colonel Saunders?
I said Colonel Gaddafi.
He said this thing that I thought was very, very powerful. Colonel West. Colonel West. He was doing a lecture on Du Bois or Du Bois.
Who is this guy?
Huh?
Who is this guy?
He's an American.
Is he the one that did about like at the start of your day you should like do your bed? Is he that guy?
No,
like,
that's
but that's aside from the point.
Yeah.
Basically, what he said, and I'm butchering this because I only watched it recently and I haven't been able to mull over, is when you're gold chasing, the golden rule is that gold will rule, and that's the situation that many of us in this current society find ourselves in. We're chasing gold, and for that to be sustainable, gold will rule your life, and that's what often drains us of having substance in terms of meaning in the work that we do. You know, so for example, you are, like you've said, in the financial role, and you're just chasing paper. Eventually, the only thing that holds you down is paper, and that's very that can't hold you. So
because it's vacuous. It's
there's
empty.
A massive. It's empty. It's shallow. And there's a massive.
This surface level, world level, like it's no depth to it.
For meaning, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I think the point this is contextualizing. He was talking about a book of Du Bois, who was an African American writer, and he was speaking about how at that time African Americans were the emancipation of slaves had happened, and they reached a point where technological advancement was going to make the Black community richer. And he was warning them, he was saying a warning to say, okay, you have, because of your circumstance, you have been able to build a community that is very spiritual. You can talk of soul music, gospel music, all of that is rooted in the experiences of African Americans. And he was warning them, admonishing them, and saying to them, be careful of this gold chase, this technological advancement, because you have been freed now. You're free to become rich, but there are sort of consequences of that. Now, what Colonel West was saying, he was linking that to present day, and he was talking about how African Americans of today, they are in a similar similar situation. They have lived past this whole civil rights movement in a similar way to how the African Americans of that day had lived past the system of slavery. And we're living in an amazingly technologically advanced world. We have these incredible smartphones in our pockets, and we need to be careful that we don't lose the sight of spiritualness in the pursuit of gold and technology and the glitz and glamour the world has to offer. And it's difficult to reconcile that, because of course there is benefits in having money. Money gives you the freedom to be able to do what you want, and in that you are able to really pursue things that have meaning. And if you don't have that freedom, it can often be crippling. But
Yeah.
I always get reminded of I don't know why it always goes back to, in my mind when I think of this, it goes back to like gurus in India who I think one particular story comes to like the first Buddha, the relinquishing of earthly possessions and living life in humility in pursuit of meaning. Of course, I'm not a Buddhist by any means. If I would tie that to my own worldview, it's Jesus talking about how it's hard for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. It's hard. It will be easier for a camel to enter through the eye of the needle. I'm talking for a long time, but I'll finish on this. People always say that. People always take that literally because they'll think of a needle pin, and that little bit where you put thread through, and saying, of course, if a camel's massive, it's impossible for that camel to be able to go through that needle. But what I was actually referencing is in the city gates. To enter into city, there's these little gates called needles, and when merchants will be coming from afar with their camels, the camels will be carrying all sorts of bags and luggage and stuff. Now, for the camel to get through this needle, you'd have to take off all those bags, all those possessions, all those things the camel's carrying, and then it'll be able to get through. So I think for us today, we need to find a way of reconciling our pursuit of freedom in economic means and getting meaning spiritually and in a like above way, like transcendent way.
Yeah. I think that you made such a good point there, right? Because at the end of the day, you can't, like, the majority of people, they don't have the means to just go up a mountain, meditate the whole life and renounce the world. So we need to accept, to an extent, money is part of the world. So then the next question is, how do we live a life where you pursue money, but then you don't lose your anchoring element, which is the thing that holds you down and grounds you in being a human being, right? So if you have a lot of money, you need to remember, like, okay, this is not the end. The money is not the end. The goal is not money. Money is merely a means. It's not an end. Do you know what I mean? So we get money to, in our, like, so if I have a lot of money, then I have a responsibility. So in the Quranic worldview, in the worldview of the Muslims, right, we can't, whether you're rich or poor, it doesn't matter. What really matters is your character and whether you're greedy or not, right? So if you're rich, you could do a lot of good for the world. But the issue is that if you have a lot of money, the majority of people that do have it, they can't deal with it because they get, the love of this world becomes too much and they forget that they're going to die. Like I heard this guy say in an interview once, I think he's a like a not a producer, but like a manager for artists. He said the number one thing that celebrities are scared of is dying. They do not want to die. They love this world so much because they have so much of it. And that's the danger. And even when they love it so much, the majority of them are still quite depressed and sad, right? Because it really isn't enough for the human condition. We are built to be more than that, more than just money. But when people say, "Oh, money's not important," and this and that, it's just false. Of course it's important.
It's important.
It is important, and if you renounce its importance, then you're doing a disservice to your potential to help others, because you can help a lot of people if you put effort in, made some money, and helped others. If you believe in the value of money, do you know what I mean? But it's difficult for a lot of people. At the end of the day, we don't individually know whether money's going to be good or bad for us. Only God knows that, right? So he's going to give us with whatever he blessed us with, and we need to accept that. But it's when you see money as, like
Like
this
your
is
sole
it.
reason for living.
So your sole reason for living is to make a lot of money. Do you know what I mean? I think the issue as well, though, like the spiritual, like anchoring behind the human being and as to why he's here. A lot of people just don't believe in God anymore. They're trying to find a way to like find themselves and like find why they're here in the universe. And a lot of people see these celebrities and money and all this, and it's easy to just say, the goal is to make a lot of money and live a good life, but that's really easy. Do you know what I mean? And then, it's just, I don't know. It's difficult because a lot of people just don't believe in God. So I think it's deeper than just like saying to people, don't chase the money. Then what should I chase? Do you know what I mean? For people are just going to be like, what should I chase then? There's nothing to do then.
That's a good question then, innit? So like for those people that chase money, once they get the money, what do they do?
But the thing that people would say is that they justify it through, okay, I'm going to spend 24 hours a day making all this money so I can pass on to my kids. Yeah. And they see it as like a noble reason because they do it because they want to pass on to their kids and they want their kids to live a good life and whatever and make a difference. Thing is, I think that point of view is okay, but it's still limiting for the human potential. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't think just because a child has a lot of money, he's going to turn out to be a good person or he's going to be comfortable, whatever. He doesn't need a lot of money in the first place. So why do you need to give him so much? It makes no sense. Like, why do we feel this need to create an empire? It's kind of like, it's just power. Why do we feel this need to like have loads of houses and create an empire and give it to our kids? Why?
And it can change in a second, just like that. God can take it away.
But what benefit does
you could have all this money and then one day it's all gone?
Legit, let's say I make £1 billion.
Yeah.
Like, I have this empire, give it to my child, and then what? Is that the purpose of my life, to just make money and then give it to my child? And then what's his purpose? Do you know what I mean? I think like it's just a vicious cycle. We need to get out of this thing and understand that the purpose of the human being isn't just to make money. That's merely a means and it's not an end. Do you know what I mean?
That's why
profit.
If I can just make a quick point. There's a very good verse to back up what you're talking about. So there's a verse in the Quran. It says, "Al-hakum at-takasur," abundance diverts you, hatta zurtumul makabir, until you come to the graves. So I feel that just sums up perfectly what you're on about. Because like every single person's having that same mentality that, oh, I'll give the money to my kids. The kids will be like, oh, I'll give my money to my kids. Carries on like this, and you only realize once you're in your grave, why did I do all this time? Why did I do all this? Why did I spend all my time doing this? What did I really achieve in my life? So those are the big questions.
Yeah.
Segueing onto a slightly different topic in terms of doing something meaningful in their lives. Have you guys seen the notorious RBG passed away a few days ago? So
before she passed away, I didn't really know much about her. Do you know?
I didn't know much about her either. Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I only found out she passed away on Twitter. A few of my colleagues were saying like, "Oh, she was a giant in her field" and stuff like that. So I started actually looking her up. So basically, Ruth Bader Ginsburg was the Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States. So she was the second Supreme Court. She was the second female or second woman in the Supreme Court in the United States. She was nominated in like 1993, and legit, she did so many things for like women, gender equality, and women's rights. She like was like a massive giant. Her work led directly to the end of gender-based discrimination in so many different parts of the law. So she died at the age of like 87, and she was still serving on the Supreme Court. I literally watched her biopic on Netflix yesterday. She started out as no normal civil rights lawyer. She went she met her husband while studying at Harvard Law School. I think it was Harvard. No, I think it was Harvard Law School. But she met her husband when she was like 17 at university. She became pregnant, continued studying at Harvard Law School while having a child. Her husband had cancer. She was looking after her husband and her 1-year-old child while studying at Harvard Law School. She completed. He got better. He completed his degree. He moved to New York to start a new job. She transferred to go with him, and she finished at Columbia University, another prestigious university, and finished tied first in her class. She worked as an academic. She was teaching law. She was taking up these cases for civil rights, and eventually she changed the law. Essentially, there was this bit in the biopic where they were talking about how at that specific time, obviously in the 60s, there was a whole civil rights movement for African Americans. 70s was more of like a women's rights movement, and she was saying, or something was said along the lines of, you see all these women protesting, or all these people going out and protesting, but Ruth wasn't like that. That's not her way. She instead went to the courts. She went to the institutions and made that institutional change.
Yeah.
And it was so inspirational. She's like this little small lady, but she was extraordinarily powerful. She had so much power and so much command with whenever she would speak.
Yeah.
So yeah, just
why is that? Why do they have like? Do you think it's because of the level of intellect that they have and how clever she is?
She was insanely hardworking. She was incredibly intelligent, but not just intelligent. She was incredibly hardworking. Incredibly, like the whole thing I was just talking about how at university she had a kid, a 1-year-old child, starting at Harvard Law School, and her partner had cancer. She was looking after him. She was incredibly hardworking. She carried that out throughout her life.
That's amazing.
She was like an extremely serious woman, and now there's a problem in the United States. People are saying because of course she now has to be replaced, and it's the president that selects a replacement for Supreme Court judges, and of course the controversy surrounding Brett Kavanaugh's appointment is still lasting. Trump's going to try and get a new person elected before his own election thing comes into play. So this might be the Supreme Court of the United States might be the most right wing we've seen in a long time.
I saw the news today that Joe Biden basically said in his speech that Ruth Bader Ginsburg, before she passed away, she didn't want Trump to vote in a new Supreme Court judge before the election.
I bet she was holding out because she had cancer. She died. She passed away with cancer. But I'm sure she was holding out to try and make sure she got through at least the next election.
Till after the election.
Or after the election. Because people are saying, she not really criticizing her, but what she should have done, because she was really old. When she was appointed, she was quite old. So people are saying she should have left during the Obama administration so that Obama could appoint a new Supreme Court judge. But because she was a never quit sort of attitude, it's
difficult.
Because
as a Supreme Court judge, you can do it for a lifetime.
Yeah.
So that's why people are saying it's not. You shouldn't really make a hasty decision and choose it before the election. Do you know what I mean? Give some time. But knowing Trump, mate, he's going to choose it tomorrow.
He said they're going to do it swiftly.
Get his boy Juan in it, innit?
Yeah, legit.
I think he's gonna favor a woman, replacing her with a woman.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, yeah,
we've got less than a minute left.
Probably a few seconds left.
As though we've had a good episode today. Thoroughly enjoyed it, I must say. Thank you as always, Mr. Jubba Ahmed, our financial correspondent, and obviously DM bringing his insights in, unique insights, I must say. And I hope to see you all guys again next week, and hopefully, K-Flays will be back as well.